Hey guys, I am the Seaman235 and I am back with another video. And it's that time of year again, albeit a bit weirder than usual, mostly because E3 didn't happen this year technically, but it kinda sorta did because a bunch of game announcements, pretty big game announcements, mind you, came out last month. So it's sort of like E3 was here, but it wasn't, which makes me wonder if E3 will even be around anymore, since it didn't really seem like it was necessary, and last year's E3 was basically a bunch of nothing besides, I think, Nintendo stuff, and then for, this year, it was a bunch of important stuff, but there was no E3. It's weird. I don't know whether E3 is officially dead in the water or not. I quite frankly do not give a shit, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are in the same position as me where they just don't care, but who knows, maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know why. All I know is that there was a bunch of game announcements, and I figured I would take the time to cover the ones I find interesting, and I'm probably just going to do this from now on, because every time I try to cover everything in E3, it always ends in failure. I always churn out videos at 2 or 3 months apart, and most of them end up being half a year late, so it's I'm done doing that. I'm just gonna tackle the stuff I find interesting, so I'm not covering everything. So if there's an announcement that you were really happy with, I apologize if I don't cover it, but quite frankly, I just want to save time, and I have another video that I would like to do later on that will be much bigger. I'm probably going to actually have a script for it, so hopefully I won't be as much of a stuttery mess, but we'll see how it goes. So let's not waste any more time. So the first of the announcements I want to cover is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. This is the sequel to Jedi Fallen Order. I did play Fallen Order, as you probably have noticed due to the tons of footage I have on my channels. I very much enjoyed it. I thought it was a great game. A bit glitchy, a bit unpolished. Hopefully Respawn gets the time they need to sort of finish it. But I'm very much looking forward to what they do. Respawn is a really talented team. They've done a lot of EA's best games in recent memory. Like they did Apex Legends, Titanfall 2, Jedi Fallen Order. They've done a bunch of really good stuff, so, I'm looking forward to it. Apparently it's going to be an open-world game. We didn't really see too much on it. I think Cal Kestis also is supposed to have amnesia, which might be sort of a way for them to reset Cal to level 0, basically. I mean, there's no level system. There kind of is, but there kind of isn't. But basically, it'll be a way for him to sort of lose his abilities, and then when he remembers them, he gets them back. It's basically a way to start people into the game. But I could be wrong. This is just judging from info I've heard. The trailer was just a CGI trailer, not much to go on. If there is any gameplay, I haven't seen it. If there is some gameplay, I will be sure to show it, because I would like to show at least a little bit of it, but I haven't seen any, so I'm going to assume it's just the CG trailer. Like I said, there's not much to say. But, I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. Respawn is a talented studio, and I enjoyed Jedi Fallen Order, so I'm sure I will enjoy this one. The next thing is something I was shocked, because this announcement, it sort of didn't come out of nowhere. There was an event for this, I believe, but it's sort of one of those where it's just it's so soon. And considering how the last entry we waited how many fucking years for, I'm surprised to see it announced and not have 50 spin-offs before it that further convolute the already convoluted story. If you don't know what I'm referring to Kingdom Hearts 4. I was shocked, because I knew Kingdom Hearts 4 would probably come sooner than we would all expect. I say sooner, it's probably going to take 5 years to make. I knew it would probably come sometime sooner than we thought, but I thought they would make maybe 1 or 2 more spin-offs, but no, I guess it's just Melody of Memory and that's it, thank God. Not to put down the side games, spin-offs, whatever you want to call them, I'm calling them spin-offs. If you don't like it, I don't care, Most of them are not necessarily bad, but they're not really good either. The only one I really think is worth it is Birth by Sleep, and even then, that has problems. I mostly just care for the numbered entries. So, you know. But yeah, KH4, it was announced. They're taking a very different direction with this one. Apparently, I think Nomura said he's probably going to have less worlds, but those worlds are going to be even bigger and more explorative than KH3, and they were already pretty sandboxy, especially stuff like the Caribbean and San Fran Tokyo from Big Hero 6. It's sort of interesting to me. I'm wondering if, like, because KH3 was still very much walking the same line that KH1 and 2 did, just massively expanded and with less loading. So I'm wondering how they're going to do this. There's still going to be, like, different Disney worlds and different worlds, but apparently, again, they're going to be more open. They might just be, like, multiple open worlds, or multiple sandboxes, bigger sandboxes. Combat-wise, it's probably going to be the same, but there is one thing that I am very happy with, and this makes me excited for KH4 alone. Reaction commands are back. For those who don't know, who don't play Kingdom Hearts, a reaction command is basically a QTE, a quick time event. That's basically what they are. And we have not seen them since KH2. They never appeared in any of the side games. They never appeared in KH3. They were removed for KH3 in favor of, I guess, attractions and grand magic, but it was nowhere near as interesting as it should have been. I mean, look, I didn't hate KH3's combat. I actually quite enjoyed it, but the one thing I never enjoyed, and I still don't enjoy, there's two things, really. Grand Magic, I always felt was a bit too overpowered, but the biggest thing I did not enjoy was attractions. And thankfully, I do not see an attraction in sight, and I hope it stays that way. Like, if you want to make an attraction sort of like a limit where you waste all of your MP for doing it, that's fine. But no, it seems like, no, they're just gonna flat out bring back reaction commands. I don't know if the Grand Magic and the form switching stuff is gonna return. I do hope the form switches stay. I think that's actually a good idea. I hope the drive system comes back. I mean, I know it sort of did with the form changes. Like, the form changes were sort of the drive forms, but I hope they kind of meld it in a more interesting way. We'll see what happens. It seems like they're going to be taking a lot of cues from KH2's combat, which I think is a good idea, because it's still, to me, the best in the franchise. Again, KH3 was good, I still liked it, and I still very much enjoyed the combat, but again, it was very spammy, very easy, and attractions are the fucking worst. Like, they are so boring and repetitive to look at, and they're so... ugh. They interrupted the flow of combat so badly, and that was my biggest issue with them. Like, at least with summons and limits with their animations, you can choose whether you want to activate them. And even limits and summons felt more interactive, because with limits, you still had control of what the characters did. I mean, you sort of do with attractions as well, but sometimes with attractions, because they just clump together with a bunch of your other commands, or your other situation commands, you just activate them when you don't want to, and it's so fucking annoying, and I hated it. It also seems to be aiming for a more Final Fantasy 15 approach. We sort of got this with stuff like Aurum Rex and Yozora, I believe the boss's name is. I haven't faced him yet. I know. I'm sorry. We'll get to it, I swear. The point is, it seems like Nomura wants to have his version of Final Fantasy 15 actually come to fruition, and it seems like he's using Kingdom Hearts to do that. So that will be interesting, I guess. Of course, we see some stuff from the Master of Masters. Sora is fighting some giant Heartless in a realistic city that's very similar, actually, to what we see in Aurum Rex? Yeah, Aurum Rex. Or Verum Rex. I'm not... Future me, just put the title of the game. The point is, it's Sora in a much more realistic environment, similar to something we would see in Final Fantasy 15, or rather, what we see in, you know, the Yozora game. And, you know, that seems interesting. There's a new girl. I'm sure she'll be the nominee, the next nomina. I'm sure the story will be convoluted as hell, as usual. But really, I'm just excited for it just because they seem to be taking a lot of cues from KH2. And they're also, of course, keeping what made KH3 look really nice, and they're having more open worlds, so they're probably going to expand on what they did with the worlds in KH3. Which, to be fair, the worlds were the best part about KH3, in my opinion, in terms of just the worlds' designs. Not every one of them was a winner, but I actually really liked how open they were. They didn't feel empty either. It wasn't like Dream Drop Distance where they could feel very bland and empty and lifeless. No, these worlds were full of life in KH3, and there were plenty of cool secrets to find, and, with KH4, I hope they expand on that, while also fixing the combat problems of 3 and making it more like 2, therefore giving us essentially the next Kingdom Hearts 2, with bits of 3 that people actually might have liked, like myself. Or maybe they didn't like it. I don't know. You can't please everybody. KH3 is a very divisive game. I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping it's good. We don't really know too much about it. We only saw the first trailer. I don't expect to see any more for another 4 years. But who knows? They surprised me with this announcement. They might surprise me again. So the next thing that we have is the Nintendo Direct, the partner showcase. I was a bit skeptical about how good this would be because the partner showcases are usually very short, very brief, and usually have really, really shitty announcements. Like, they're really, really dumb announcements like fucking Way Forward with a Bakugan game. So I was a bit hesitant to enjoy this, but I gave it a shot, and surprisingly, it actually turned out pretty good. I was shocked. Honestly, I was still a bit disappointed we didn't get an official Nintendo-related Direct. We did get stuff for Xenoblade, and I know that pissed off a lot of people. But honestly, the partner showcase, to me, I'm still a bit disappointed we didn't get Nintendo stuff for the most part, but this was a nice supplement. This actually felt like it was worthy of being attached to E3. If E3 actually ended up happening. It's pretty clear that besides, with Breath of the Wild 2 being delayed to next year, which we all knew would happen, they don't really have much besides Pokemon, but it's still nice that third party seems to be picking up the slack. They actually do seem to be, they seem to have improved their partner showcases, and I'm hoping that this isn't just a one-time thing because it's a special time of the year for gaming announcements. I hope this is how partner showcases usually are from now on. I don't expect them to be a half an hour, but if you're going to have a 20-minute partner showcase, please have more announcements like this and not some type of garbage with fucking Bakugan. Now, I don't know if that was an indie thing or if it was a third-party showcase thing, but I don't care. Why the fuck is Bakugan there? I like Bakugan. I haven't touched the reboot, granted, but I like Bakugan, so I know about it, but, keep that shit out of E3, or at the very least, if you're gonna have it be a small thing, just a minor thing, so minor it lasts maybe, a couple of seconds. Don't have it take up a portion of your Direct. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff. We got Mario and Rabbids, Nier Automata is actually coming to Switch, Persona 5, 3, and 4. All of them. The best versions of all of them. Hopefully those turn out good. Don't fuck them up, Sega. But yeah, those are coming, which, we all knew Persona 5 would probably happen eventually, but I never expected 4 Golden and 3 for sure. I thought it would just be limited to 5, but nope. I might actually want to get those games at some point when they're cheaper, because I don't have the money for all of them right now. But, I was always interested in Nier Automata because of Platinum Games, and I want to start getting into some of their stuff, especially since I like Devil May Cry. I know Nier is probably not going to be an action hack and slash, it's going to be more of an action RPG. So it's not going to be like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, it's going to be its own thing, I'm sure. But like, I want to start getting into more Platinum game stuff, and I'm going to start with Bayonetta, of course, but Nier might be on the top of that list, along with like Metal Gear Rising as well. So we'll see. And Persona, I hear tons of awesome stuff about Persona, and since I want to play more Sega franchises, what better place to start than with something that wasn't owned by Sega at first? And why not? Persona 5 I hear is a great game, so... And I might as well get Persona 3 and 4 while I'm at it, since I hear Persona 4 is a great game, and 3, while it hasn't aged great, it's still a good game in its own right. But yeah, they had a bunch of other stuff, like Pac-Man World, the 3D platformer from the PlayStation 1, that's getting a remake. That shocked the hell out of me. Like, I mean, granted, people have been asking for a new Pac-Man World for a little bit. It's not like a huge, big, like, thing. It's not like a huge cult or anything, but it's still like a, you know, people have been clamoring at least a little bit for a new one, and now we're getting a full-blown remake. That's pretty neat. And of course, we got some Sonic Frontier news. Or Sonic Frontiers. Forgot the S, I don't know why. But yeah, this actually would be a good segue to the Sonic stuff, because a lot of Sonic stuff has been happening this year. Hey there, it's Future Me from the future. So, in my first recording, the one you just heard, I talked about Sonic Origins and Frontiers together, because I figured I would put those two together. It ended up being like another 30 minutes long. I figured instead of just having a 40-minute video to edit, I figured why not split the Sonic topics up with the other topics, because clearly I have a lot to say about Sonic. And honestly, I wasn't really proud of how the second half turned out. Second two-thirds, or whatever. So yeah, I figured I would just redo that. But, before I sign off, I will say this about Sonic Frontiers. Since it was at the Direct, I figured I can give my general thoughts here before I go more in-depth. So when Sonic Frontiers was first announced with the footage from IGN, I thought it looked terrible. I thought it looked absolutely awful, like everybody else. But, just like everybody else, once we saw more better-looking footage, it started to actually look like a fairly competent game. Granted, a lot of decisions of recent Sega has me still worried as hell, but regardless, it does look better than it used to. And honestly, the Nintendo footage looks the best. We actually got to see the cyberspace levels, and this is one of those decisions I'm going to bitch about more in the second video, but we saw Green Hill, we know about Sky Sanctuary from leaks. We did see a more original area, which I'm going to show right now in either a picture or some video. That legit looks really, really good, but I'm still annoyed that we keep going back to nostalgia whoring, even though we've had a decade of nostalgia whoring at this point, like, ever since Generations. Remember when Generations was just supposed to be a one-off? Remember when Generations was actually special? I mean, it still is special, but, like, it's nowhere near as special as it should have been. Instead, it's they just keep chasing it. But whatever. I will say this, the Nintendo Direct footage was probably the best footage of Forces shown off. It looked much faster, we got to see some cool boss fights, we got to see some more combos, we got to see the cyberspace stages, that's a first. We generally know more about the plot of the game, we know what the islands Sonic is going to be on are called, and we even got to see the main villain of the game, at least I assume, called Sage, which is funny considering we have a fan expo, I think, called Sage as an acronym. Yeah, so the footage was very good. It did help my rather sour opinion a little bit, but it did. This and the Green Hill stuff, the Green Hill and Sky Sanctuary stuff, and Origins recently coming out, which I won't get into now, really was. It soured it a little bit as well, so it's like, it looks a lot better, but decisions made by the company as of recently, as well as, like, some of the ideas, like the nostalgia whoring, again, kind of make me like, oh, well, it looks better, but this I don't like, and you did this, and I don't trust you, and I don't know whether I should buy the game or not, and it's like, it's one of those where it's sort of like, I think it looks really good, but at the same time, you did a couple of things, like, that I didn't like, and I'm cautious. And really, that's just it about Sonic Frontiers. I'm just so cautious about it. I want to be optimistic, but I don't know whether I should be. It does look better, and I do think this is a good idea. I just am not sure if Sega, or specifically Sonic Team, can pull it off. Remember, a lot of the people who are making this made Forces, and we did get some more stuff about Sonic Frontiers after the Direct, but I'm not going to talk about it too much because I don't really... I'm going to save that for a different video when I talk about Sonic updates, because I'm going to be bitching about Origins. I haven't bought it, for the record. I'm not buying it, and I'll tell you why when I get to that video, but for now, yeah, that's basically all what was shown in the Direct that interested me. If there's something I missed, please let me know, and I'll talk about it in a comment, or, you know, maybe I just wasn't interested. But with that said, I am the Seaman235, signing out, and have a good one. And please, just let Frontiers be good. Please. Please.